Hi guys, this is my first real Yabo, or whatever you call it. First of all, the housekeeping. Smoking my cobbit, my favourite pipe, and smoking my son's blend of that he calls Oriental Dream, and it's a really good blend. I'm either going to have to catch some more of him. Could he give a sample for a poor old man who's desperately needing a smoke? Or I'm going to have to make some myself and hope that I get the blend right. But anyway, my first real Yabo. Nice packet. And I got this from a tobacconist called Barber's. Barber's was in the town where I was brought up. And at one time they had two shops, one at each side of the road, and about 3 doors down, a tobacco factory. I can just remember the two shops. And they've just recently moved. And for a little town, they're quite important tobacconists. Things like the Falcon pipe and one or two other well-known pipes come through them, as they have a franchise for them. But anyway, back to the Yabo. I bought some more Presbyterian mix. That's a tobacco that I particularly like. I've only bought one of those, but tobaccos that I'm getting used to, or that I've never had before, I tend to buy two. And this one's Artisan's Blend, which is an Ashton, and it's a full-bodied English mixture, carefully crafted for the experienced pipe smoker, which ain't me yet. But I thought that might be a nice one to try. And I've got one to cellar and one to smoke. And then there's two more. And for the life of me, I can't remember what this one is. Just excuse me a minute. Oh yeah, it's a Rattery's Red Rapparee. Again, one to cellar and one to smoke. The trouble for most of us, I think, is that there's so many tobaccos and so little time, and for some of us, not enough money. But that's always been the way. And the last thing is the inevitable my memory's going, pipe cleaners. But anyway, that's my packet opening. I'll just relight. One of the things that I've been thinking about recently, because I've been buying some tins, is the tobaccos that have disappeared. Tobaccos like the Great Bulk and Sobrani, the original blend. Blends like Baby's Bottom, which I understand is still around, but it's just BB something or other. And I don't know how like the old Baby's Bottom it is. It was called Baby's Bottom, I think, because the smoke was supposed to be smooth. And one of my uncles used to smoke it as his favourite. And he'd always say, I'm just going to put a bit Baby's Bottom in me pipe. And, sort of smile and light it up. Another one was Players No Name. I don't know whether you could ever get that in the States. It was unnamed because it was supposed to be so good, you didn't have to name it. And it was a good smoke. It was a nice smoke. What annoys me is when tobacco companies take on a blend and they change it in some way. Maybe sometimes it's just that they use the same ingredients but don't know how to produce it to reproduce the original taste or shape of the tobacco. But I think sometimes they take on a blend hoping that people will think it's the same blend and will just buy it, and that way they make money on something that isn't quite the same. I wonder what blends you've particularly liked that have gone out that you can't get anymore and you regret it. We're going through a great time of change, I think, in smoking and in tobacco. And I hope we still have places that come through it, because the difficulty is we can't buy tobacco from abroad, maybe. We're part of the Commonwealth in England, not Commonwealth, Common Market. And yet, Common Market tobacconists can't send their products to this country. I mentioned Barber's the tobacconist, which deserves to have a lot of people buying from it to keep it going. But they can't sell to America. And these rules and that kind of thing are just ridiculous. Why not? We live in a world that's much smaller now than it used to be. Why can't we share the best of each other's countries? I don't know what you think of that or what you regret about that, but I sometimes watch the videos from overseas, from you wild colonial boys in Australia and in America, and realise that to get some of the stuff would cost me 3 times as much by the time it's paid import duty and got it over here. The other thing I've been thinking about is how different things go with tobacco smoking. The image of the fisherman with his foot on one of the things that you tie the ships up to, and his rough face that seems to have seen eternity in his eyes, that distance that's been there, done that, and seen nature at its worst, and just smoking gently. on his pipe and wondering when he's going to get back to sea. The jerseys that we wear, that the fishermen wear in England, are called ganseys, and each one has its own separate design, and that's necessary. I don't know whether it's the same in the States, but the reason they have their own separate design is so that when they're lost at sea and their bodies are eventually washed up and maybe missing a face or something like that, they can be recognised by the gansey they're wearing, and so be given a decent funeral by friends and family. One of my favourite families were the Wests in Cromer. They were crab fishermen. And there was Downtide West. He always fished downtide. And I think it was him whose boat sank from under him. And as they rushed over to rescue him as his boat was going down, one of the other family members said, had the bottom dropped out, boy? Which, has the bottom of the boat dropped out? But it caught on, and from ever after, whenever his glass was getting short in the pub, they'd say, had the bottom dropped out? That's my attempt at my old Norfolk accent, and it isn't very good. But thinking about, pipes and fishermen, I was thinking about pipes and golfers. Another image of the man carrying his clubs and smoking a pipe and all dressed smartly for golf. And I want to end by telling you a story. There were two friends who went golfing every Thursday. No matter what came up, Thursday was golf day. And this particular Thursday, they're wandering around the golf course, playing golf, and as they come nearer the road, Fred says to George, do you mind if we stop here and have a pipe? And George says, no, I don't mind. Great idea. So they stop and load up their pipes. Light them. And a funeral car with the followers in their cars draws up on the road and stops. So George turns and sort of looks at it, takes his hat off and holds it on his chest and bows his head in prayer. And the funeral car just draws on and goes on. And his mate said, I was really impressed by that. He said, that was very reverent. Beautiful sort of thing to do. And he said, well, she was a damn good wife.